Okay, today we're going to be making this very simple pair of overalls. We call them John Johns here in Atlanta. I've heard them called short alls. If you put pants on it, then it's long alls. Whatever you want to call it, the pattern calls it a Johnny. Whatever you're interested in calling it, it's fine with me. But what we're going to do today is make a simple John John that is lined. It would be really easy to make this reversible if you put pretty fabric on the inside. We're going to add snaps for the crotch. This is a 12-month. And then we're going to add buttons for the top. And once you have the lining and the outfit cut out, as you see, I have it in two pieces. What I'm going to do is sew the crotch seam together, which is from the neck right here all the way down to this point right here. Now this is the leg. Don't get confused because lots of people want to sew that up too. We're just going to do the crotch, and we're going to do the lining to the lining and the outside fabric to the outside fabric on both the front and the back. As you can see, I sewed this seam up on all four of my sections. The back lining, the front, and the front lining. Now I'm going to sandwich press it, which means I'm just going to hold it in there, hold it in place, put a little steam on it, flatten out everything, and then I'm going to open press. So I'm going to open it up just like that, and I'm going to run my iron through that. I'm going to do that on all four pieces. Now that I have it sandwich pressed and open pressed, I'm going to turn it up so the lining is facing up, right sides up, and I'm going to take the other piece that matches. This is the front and the front. I'm going to line them up on top of each other. Front lining and front outside fabric. Okay, right sides together, and I'm going to pin all the way around the armhole and the neckline. Okay. As you can see, I have pinned all the way around, and all I'm going to do now, because this is a John John with buttons, the two pieces are not connected at the shoulders, I'm going to sew this all the way around, crossing the shoulder, all the way around the neckline, crossing the shoulder, all the way back down the armhole. I'm going to do that. But I'm also going to do the bottom. And as you can see, I pinned the leg, the crotch, and the other leg. And I'm going to sew that all the way up. I'm going to do this on both the front and the back. And I'm going to leave the side seams open just like a pillowcase tube so I can stick my hand all the way through. As you can see, the sewing lines all the way across the top and all the way across the bottom. Okay, the crotch, and then back and forth. I've still got that hole. So now what I want to do is iron this really flat. I'm not going to worry so much about the crotch, but the neckline needs to be ironed. And then I'm going to trim all of this back to 1/4 of an inch. Because if I turn it right now, it's going to be bunchy and yucky. But if I'll trim that down to 1/4, it's going to lay really, really pretty. Okay, I wanted to show you the difference. Here's the trim after I cut it down, and this one I have not cut down. So now I want to flip them both and let you see why we trim it down. Because a lot of people say, oh, that's not a really necessary step. And it makes a ginormous difference in the way your outfit's going to look. Okay, this is the one that I did not trim. Do you see how bulky that neckline is? And I've not ironed these yet. And this is the one I have trimmed. Do you see how pretty and flat that will lay? With a little iron, that one goes perfect. Even with a little iron, this one's got your wrinkles and your pleats. This is why it's important to trim that down to 1/4 of an inch. Anytime you have a curve, it's a good idea to trim it. Now I'm going back and I've turned this, I've trimmed everything down, and I'm just going to iron this in place, making sure that that white, which is our lining, rolls in. If any's showing, anything like that, that's why it's nice to use a complementary color for your lining. There's no reason that it has to be white. Most of the time I actually do these John Johns in another fabric and make them reversible because it's the exact same process. And if you're going to take the time to line it, why not go ahead and make it reversible? We're going to do that on the top and the bottom, and any place where you have these points that you need to stick out, like right there in the pants leg. I like to use the tip of my scissors. They do make special tools for this. You can just poke that out a little bit. Here you go. That looks much nicer, and you can see the difference between the two, one that's been poked and one that hasn't. Right there. That nice point comes out. So we're going to do that, and we're just going to press it, and we're going to do that on both the front and the back. Okay, as you can see, I've got my front and my back all trimmed up, or all ironed flat. The crotches, the tops. Now, everything's turned out. Now, this is the part that people get confused on. And what I want you to do is take one. It doesn't matter if it's the front or the back. And I want you to turn it inside out. Okay? And I'm going to reach my hand through so it's like a pillowcase. I'm going to take the other one and I'm going to pull this one in. Okay? Just like the pillowcase again. This one is right sides out. This one's inside out. And I'm going to put them together with the corresponding fabric facing each other. So in this case, stripes to stripes and white to white. And I'm literally sticking it inside each other, maintaining that hole that I can put my hand all the way through. Now I'm going to take my pins, I'm going to take those pieces, and I'm going to pin that circle together. And I'm only pinning corresponding fabrics. I am not flattening it out and pinning the white and the red together, only corresponding fabrics. And I'm going to, okay, as you can see, that's what I'm talking about right there. And that's where I'm placing my pins, okay? I have corresponding fabrics, a big circle that I have made, and I'm putting my pins about every 2 inches, just like I've done, or just like I always do. Doesn't have a head. All the way around, maintaining that hole that I can stick my hand through. And I'm going to do that on both pieces. Okay, now you can see how I've got my hand all the way through that garment. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to sew this just like the open end of a pillowcase. I'm going to sew all the way around one side. I'm going to sew all the way around the other side, but I'm going to leave about a 3-inch opening to turn this garment. I'm going to leave it in the white because that's the lining, okay? And that's going to allow us to turn it inside out and have a finished garment. Okay, now you can see that I've got that circle. Maybe you can see my stitch lines right there. My hand's going to go all the way through it. And on this one side only, I've left that opening. So now is when the magic happens. And this is what's great about reversible. I'm going to stick my hand in there, and I'm going to grab the furthest corner I can, and I'm going to pull it through. And we have a John John. Now, as you can see, we have the John John all turned right side out. Now, I still have that opening on the inside lining. I'm going to reach my hand in there and find that hole.